Hey guys, Mitchell here, or you may more formally know me as Megadude454, as my YouTube account name entails. Excuse my squeaky chair. Basically, the only reason why you're viewing this is probably because you don't necessarily know who I am or what I do. It is well over 1 year since I kind of started Let's Playing. That was all the way back in April, and it's definitely been well over a year considering. Um, let's just kind of go over the basics of who I am. So, I self-proclaimed myself as the friendly Let's Player, when only at first I considered myself only a member of this clan called the Black Stallions. Back in the day, I was all obsessed with, have to be in a clan, have to be in a guild, have to be in a... Because I was always playing games then. Well, at least massive multiplayer online games. But then I got into Let's Playing, and that's when I started dropping out of it. But either way, you don't want to hear me doing all that. I only call myself the friendly Let's Player because that's kind of what I want to be. I want to be informative. I want to be as friendly as possible in my comments. I want to be as friendly as possible in my commentary. And if I ever appear hostile at all, it's either because I've had a bad day or because I don't like what's going on screen. And if either of those is the case, it's not going to be the viewer's fault. It's only going to be my own, or perhaps the game's glitchiness' fault. Which, we won't be seeing any of that, maybe. But, other than that, it's really just, I want to stay humble. I want to stay humane in a way, rather than just go off somewhere and be kind of a sellout, if you would coin that term, on me. And just, go on Machinima or something and post all my Let's Plays for cash or something when I don't care anymore. Because, I want to do these because that's kind of how it is. I want to do these videos because it's kind of something I enjoy. It's something it gives me some way to try to pass on my own knowledge and to explain these games that some people might have heard. For example, maybe, I don't know. What game do I have back here that I've definitely played a lot of, and that everybody probably will know? Let's say Pikmin, because that's the one that I can see that's off the top of my head that I haven't Let's Played, and more than likely will not, because despite it being well known and all that, it's been Let's Played quite a bit. And on top of that, for the most part, I can't even beat it 100%, which is kind of, the main way to beat it. Gives you the good ending rather than the neutral ending, which I've gotten. And I've also gotten the bad ending, so. And then there are games which you haven't heard about, such as... I can't really think of one. Because, everybody's heard of all the games, practically. Well, maybe just... Honestly, I don't know. I know I have a couple, but I just can't think of any. Or at least I have a couple that I haven't Let's Played or plan on Let's Playing. So, that's definitely something. Just spread around my own gaming knowledge, even though I'm, only, 17? And I have games... And I actually have knowledge of games dating all the way back to the NES era, because I had one. Either way, that's kind of just a bit of background of how, why I'm doing these Let's Plays and why I'm here. And now, seeing as it's been 1 year, I thought it'd be a good idea to spend it with kind of like an anniversary deal. 1 year anniversary for this year, and next year, well, after a few years actually, I'll do like a 5-year anniversary deal. And then 10-year, 15-year, 20-year, and so on. I thought I'd only do a year one because, I don't have that many subscribers. And for those of you who are just joining, welcome aboard. It's nice to know the roots of the Let's Player you subscribe to. and to know, what they're thinking and who they are. But I'd rather get more in depth with that, primarily through, maybe through a number of videos. I'll post something that describes me more, like gives you an imagery of the hidden face you've heard, and you now have like a body to connect it to. You never know. I might do that eventually. But anyway, let's go through like the history of my Let's Plays. So, pretty much dating 1 year ago, probably even a little more considering that I actually started on a different channel, which was called Omega Dude 454, which I've deleted only because it had displayed an age that wasn't mine, which I'm planning on actually doing that again because YouTube has so many silly restrictions on games, which, the old rating system, but that's besides the point. So, about a year ago, I started Let's Playing Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal. I thought it'd be a good start, considering I was watching another Let's Player whose name does not elude me. His name is Radshan, spelled with a W-R-A-D-S-H-A-N. I was watching his, and the entire time I almost wanted to strangle the screen, saying, "Strafe! Strafe jump! Shoot at the same time! What are you doing? You're not doing it right!" I was just yelling at my screen practically. And then I'm like, you know what? How hard could it be? I'm going to do this myself. And I broke out my camcorder, I broke out my tripod, and I basically just recorded me playing the game. Now, of course, I wasn't thinking logically at the time of, doing commentary while playing, so it was all post-commentary. For at least, the first 3 parts, I think. Maybe 5, I'm not really sure. Then after that, it kind of hit me. Why don't I do live commentary? That seems to be the easier deal. And, But before even that hit me, that's kind of when I wanted to do another game alongside it. And this one was more or less a childhood favorite of mine that, everybody's Let's Played, everybody's heard of, Final Fantasy VII. Quite honestly, this game is probably one of the big reasons why I'm a gamer today. It was so addicting in my childhood, and believe it or not, I think I learned, or at least this motivated me to learn how to read, because it was all text-based, there was no voice acting, and you have to realize being like 5 or 6 and you don't know what you're looking at is very difficult when all you're doing is like mashing the circle button to do things. But that's just, my preference. And that also started post-commentary, because it was around the time where, I wasn't figuring it out yet. I might as well do live commentary, that's easier. And when I started doing live commentary, I was very, slow to start up. I was kind of cold shoulder-ish. I didn't want to be all lively and excited because, I was nervous. I didn't necessarily know what to talk about. I didn't know what to say. Because in post-commentary, I knew what to say because I already played it, and, and eventually things started picking up speed because, I'm watching more Let's Players do all these live commentaries and all this fun stuff. And, it's kind of like that. And that's kind of the reason why I've been shouting at other Let's Players that are bigger than me, much, much, much bigger, probably in the tens of thousands of subscribers, which, I hold little envy of, only because that means they have so many people who will consistently watch their videos, who will consistently, give them feedback, and, that's kind of what I want, and that's kind of why I envy them a little, but that's, again, besides the point. I'm going off track. And then, after a while, this whole live commentary thing kind of stuck, and I started despising post-commentary. I didn't like doing it. It was kind of slow, and, but then, just kind of that. Now, Ratchet and Clank Up Your Arsenal was supposed to be an armorless run, which you will definitely note in, the first few parts. But I just got so frustrated that I collapsed and bought some armor. Now, it wasn't the highest grade armor that I could get. It was kind of just, the first armor you could purchase, which made very little difference in how the game ended. But in about, 30 or 40 parts, the Let's Play ended, and so stopped it. And then I went on just doing Final Fantasy VII for a little bit. And eventually, that's when I purchased a capture card. It was nothing more than just an EasyCap HD, which I still have, which has its case broken. It's not busted or anything. It's still usable. Hold on a minute. Excuse that. I had to sniffle. But I mean, it still works. It's just it doesn't have its case anymore. Like, it cracked open. And I mean, that was a totally new experience for me. I never had a capture card. All I had was that camcorder, and that didn't really work. So then I just kind of started experimenting, basically. First, I kind of recorded my commentary alongside the video, and then eventually I just found that, recording the game audio with the video and then syncing up my commentary is a little easier and actually has more room for mistakes than just recording the game audio and then saying it's good. That's kind of how I looked at it, and that's how it rolled. Now, I got as far as Disc 1 in Final Fantasy VII before one of my most favorite Let's Players, Necroscope86, started his Let's Play of Final Fantasy VII, which was, higher definition, because he was using mods to make it look better and everything. And all this. Now, before he started doing this, alongside with Final Fantasy VII, I was doing Oddworld Apes Exodus, which so far has been my most popular Let's Play, which has stunned me, quite literally. I didn't think so many people would have heard about this game, because it was, no pun intended, it was the oddball of the gaming family. It was a puzzle game that was also an action-adventure kind of deal. And people took it surprisingly well, and that kind of set me aback, like, whoa. And anyway, since Necroscope86 started his Let's Play of Final Fantasy VII, I thought, I'd step out of the picture, considering that, I'm only starting, and either one of us losing viewers is probably just a bad thing. So, to compensate, I started the Legend of Dragoon Let's Play, which is still ongoing right now. And that one isn't as well received. And that's probably one of the least known games ever, because it competed with Final Fantasy VII and Final Fantasy VIII and Final Fantasy IX pretty much all in the same era. And honestly, it's kind of one of those missing gems. Because, again, this is kind of one of those games from my childhood, but more or less the more recent childhood. Because I started playing this game at 9. There was a demo in the store, and I just kind of tried it, and I was like, this is interesting. So I eventually picked it up, and yeah, it was hard for me. I'm not used to kind of just, I take a turn, they take a turn. I take a turn, they take... Because, I mean, other than Pokemon, but that's kind of the extent of it. And then, eventually, Necroscope86 finished his Final Fantasy VII Let's Play rather quickly, I might add. So I stopped at Legend of Dragoon and then did Oddworld and Final Fantasy VII side by side. And eventually, I got upgraded to the baby I'm wearing right now, the Astro A40 headset, which, I was buying it primarily for my gaming, but then it became more of a dual thing. I started using it for talking to my friends over the internet. I started using it for Let's Plays. I started using it for just everything. I mean, this thing is universal. It's a great headset. I even use it to listen to music when I'm on my computer, which is, just something I wouldn't normally do. And at first I was kind of iffy, because, I couldn't figure out the method of, making sure it sounded alright, because it was different than my previous microphone, which actually came with Rock Band, surprisingly. That was all I had available. And, I had the noise removal, and eventually it sounded good. And, that's just how it worked. And eventually, pretty much a few more months, and both Oddworld was done, and then another couple months, Final Fantasy VII was done. Now, then I went into the whole do one Let's Play at a time deal. So, I started the Let's Play Dirge of Cerberus Final Fantasy VII. It's not Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus. Whoever says that is incorrect. I'm sorry, but you are incorrect if you say it's Final Fantasy VII Dirge of Cerberus. And that one is kind of alright. Honestly, I'm not surprised not too many people looked at it, because, again, it's kind of looked over of all games. It is the sequel to Final Fantasy VII, but it's actually the sequel to Advent Children. And that one didn't last very long. It's only like barely even 20 parts. And so now I'm back to the Legend of Dragoon, which, has led me to do this 1-year anniversary deal. And I mean, I gotta say, at the very least, I gotta thank my over 50 subscribers, because I mean, that's still an achievement on its own. I mean, some of those I got with help from Radshan, because, you know, he promised he'd help me, and the bastard took his word back. And, well, you know, it's just... I think it's a good experience for me to go ahead and Let's Play. Because, quite honestly, I never, ever do something that's outside of my comfort zone. And this is actually one of those things that was, because, you know, I didn't know how well it would be received. But either way, I kind of want to thank you guys for just sticking with me. And sorry about that. I didn't have enough time. So basically, what I'm trying to say is I'm glad for the YouTube community, because honestly, some people are willing to take a risk and look for new Let's Players out there who probably have barely even touched the surface of what is Let's Playing. And I mean, like I said, this was outside of my comfort zone. I'm not used to commentating and Let's Playing at the very exact same time. Because I mean, there are a lot of things outside of my comfort zone. I mean, I don't use racial slurs, for one. That one is just throw it out the window. Actually, I'm not. The only time I've ever said like the N-word, for example, was being pressured into it, and I did not like doing that. Mind you, this was over the internet, so even then, it's unacceptable. And I mean, that's just kind of it. I mean, this was outside of my comfort zone. I took a risk, and I like doing it. Because Let's Playing is just something, it's unique, it's different, it allows you to express your opinion on the game without being shot down so soon, because you're actually doing a review, and you're actually an ill-experienced reviewer. You could be an ill-experienced Let's Player, and nobody would really give two coins about it. I mean, they'll watch you, and if they don't like your opinions, they'll look elsewhere. If they like your commentary or something, you know, it's just kind of it. But either way, I kind of rambled on long enough. And, real quick, here's going to be my explanations for why I say, please don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe at the end of every video, ever since I got into the live commentary deal. The reason why I say that, for one, please don't forget to rate. That's to give me a generalized feedback as to whether or not you like my commentary, you like the video, you like the game, and just basically that. Or if you don't like it, it just gives me a general idea what's liked and what's disliked. Comment, so that way, I know specifically what you do and don't like. And subscribe. So if you like the video, subscribe. It's that natural thing. Keep watching that Let's Player to see if he'll come out with like another Let's Play that you'll enjoy, or maybe he comes out with more parts that, of a Let's Play you already enjoy. Things like that. Or maybe you're just a troll who wants to make my life miserable. Honestly, I only care just a little bit because I haven't been trolled too much. So, I mean, if you troll me, I'm going to try to let it slide off my back. But honestly, I don't think that's really going to happen too often. I think I'm still a little too small, if you get what I mean. But either way, like I said, I rambled on long enough. This has been the 1-year anniversary video. So, please don't forget to rate, comment, subscribe. You now know the reasons why I say that at the end of every video. And I'll see you in the next part of The Legend of Dragoon, which will come up tomorrow night around the same time, which is about 9 o'clock at night. So, until then, farewell.